The bond between Jimin and Jungkook is not just the story of two group members working together. It's much more than that. It's a story of emotional growth, mutual healing, and being each other's constant through every turning point in life. From BTS's uncertain early years to the pinnacle of global success, the connection between Jimin and Jungkook has evolved into something truly profound, touching the hearts of millions around the world. Jungkook, the Golden Magne, started this journey at a very young age. Back then, he was just a 15-year-old boy full of potential but still shy and uncertain. Jimin, with his strong background in dance and a heart overflowing with dedication, joined the team as someone who was both ambitious and deeply warm. When they first met, no one could have guessed that their early, awkward interactions would become the foundation for a relationship that would stir the emotions of fans for over a decade. At first glance, they seemed very different. Jungkook was quiet, often keeping his thoughts and emotions to himself. Jimin, on the other hand, was expressive, affectionate, and never afraid to show his love for the people around him. But it was this very contrast that planted the seeds of their special bond. Jimin became a safe space for Jungkook, a place where he could drop his guard, rest his soul, and be his truest self. Those early days as trainees and rookie idols were filled with challenges, and it was in those trying times that their connection deepened. Jimin often took on the role of an older brother or even a mother figure, looking after Jungkook, making sure he ate, stayed warm, practiced, and never felt alone. Jungkook, though less verbal, always showed that Jimin meant a lot to him in the way he looked at him, teased him, or stayed close by. His actions spoke louder than words. Over time, their relationship evolved into something layered and incredibly intimate. Jungkook began to open up more, especially to Jimin. He grew bolder, hugging him, joking with him, even resting his head on his shoulder, slowly creating an emotional space that only the two of them could truly understand. While the world saw BTS as a global powerhouse, Jimin and Jungkook held on to their small, private world, a world where silence said more than words and glances spoke volumes. What makes their connections so moving is how they support each other, even in the smallest, most subtle ways. During Jimin's toughest moments, whether due to external criticism or internal struggles, Jungkook was always there. Maybe not always with grand gestures or comforting words, but with presence. And sometimes that's all that's needed. On the flip side, Jimin never stopped expressing his love, whether through kind words, gentle touches, or protective glances that quietly said, "I'm here for you." One unforgettable moment for fans was when Jungkook cried after a concert and Jimin walked over to hug him. To the outside world, it may have looked like a simple gesture, but for ARMYs, it was everything. That hug said, "You're not alone." It was a hug that cradled not just a body, but a soul. Their journey hasn't always been perfect. There were times when they seemed more distant, and that sparked worry and speculation among fans. But true relationships aren't always linear. They are tested by time, by distance, and by the individual growth of the people involved. What matters is Jimin and Jungkook always find their way back to each other, as if an invisible thread ties their hearts, always pulling them home. The most beautiful part of their bond isn't just the hugs, the giggles, or the close proximity. It's the way they see each other. When Jimin talks about Jungkook, he does it with pride, as if watching a younger brother grow into someone he deeply admires. And when Jungkook talks about Jimin, there's a softness in his tone that's rare, a gentle reverence that he doesn't show for just anyone. There's a depth to their connection that goes beyond what cameras capture. It's in the way they listen to each other, in the casual touch on the arm, in the shared silence that somehow says everything. They are living proof that love doesn't always need to be romantic to be extraordinary. They're proof that two souls can be deeply connected in a way that defies logic, definition, or time. Now, as they enter a new phase of life, solo projects, military service, and the inevitable changes of adulthood, their bond remains a constant. So much has changed, and yet the connection endures. Even in silence, even when they're not seen side by side as often, fans know that thread hasn't snapped. It's simply taken a new shape, more mature, more grounded, but just as strong. To many armies, Jimin and Jungkook's relationship is inspiring. They show us that love comes in many forms, through loyalty, empathy, shared laughter, and quiet presence. They remind us that to love someone, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be there, fully and sincerely. And perhaps that's what's most touching of all, that behind all the spotlight, behind the roaring crowds and record-breaking success, there are still two young men who found a home in each other. That when the world becomes too loud, they still know where to find peace. This is the story of Jimin and Jungkook, a story of two hearts, bound not by forced destiny, but by the choice to stay, through joy, through sorrow, through laughter, and through tears. And for as long as stars shine in the night sky, their story will continue to glow, guiding anyone who still believes in the kind of friendship that feels like fate.